Welcome to This Wasn't the Plan podcast. I'm Callie.
And I'm Brittany.
And we're two best friends who met during breast cancer treatment in our 30s. This rocked our world, but we managed to get through it together. We've laughed, cried, and learned a lot along the way.
This is our real, raw, and honest journey, and we're here to help you feel less alone in yours. Thanks for listening. Now let's get on with the show.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
I am good. How are you?
I'm good. It's been like 85, 90 degrees in Nebraska, and it dropped to like 62 and rainy today. So catch me in sweatpants with chili.
Well, here in California, Southern California, it was 65. So I pulled out a sweatshirt and a jacket. And it was
ready for winter.
Yeah, I was like, I was like sweating in the car on the way to my appointments today. I'm like, I don't think this is the right move. So, yeah, I'm really ready for fall. But yeah, how are you feeling? I know you have some stuff in the works tomorrow.
Yeah. Yep.
How are your nerves?
We're going to Kansas City tomorrow to get a mammogram ultrasound. I haven't had one done since February. I kind of talked about that in my story, and that was kind of the stopping point. Like, I had a surgery consult, and I've been using the Rife to see if that changes my options. And so tomorrow, I'm getting mammogram ultrasound, and then I'll get an MRI later this month. So, I think you probably can resonate with this. It's very up in the air, like minute to minute how I'm feeling. Like, for the most part, like today I felt fine, but last week, I was quick to crash out. So, it's just, the scanxiety, man. So real.
I know. I think like before you ever have a scan, you maybe are nervous, but the reality is, it's like, oh, it's probably not the thing that we always worry about, which is cancer, whenever you get any kind of thing. And like a lot of people's stories are always like, oh, it was this, it wasn't, it was benign or whatever. And then like people don't understand though, the like real anxiety trauma that goes through it once you've had a scan and it does not go your way. And it's just like cancer. And it's just like, it never, I don't know if it ever leaves. Like you've had a great scan and you still get nervous.
I still get that, like,
so yeah,
PTSD. Yeah, I think it is that, like, you no longer have the I don't know what the word is, but just that like innocence almost, or that like
naivete.
Things just go my way. It's gonna be fine. So even though I don't have anything suggesting that I should be nervous, even like, our lymph system is meant to clear out debris and inflammation and all of these things. And there's times, a lot of people listening, probably when they're sick, get a swollen lymph node. And last week I had some pressure in a lymph node that sent me spiraling, and it sent me to start move my scans up. So anyways, it's just a lot. I'm thankful I've got you to talk to, and for us to kind of go back and forth, and that you get it.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm still waiting for insurance to approve my PET scan. So
oh my gosh,
fun. Hey, Anthem Blue Cross, if you're listening, stop being so annoying and approve this. Thank you. So I have that. It's like I don't even have anything scheduled, and I'm already like panic stricken. And then some days I'm like, this scan's going to be great. Like today I had a lymphatic drainage massage by the greatest massage therapist in the world. And we were like touching my tumor because it's like on my breast, anyone can feel it really. And I'm like, it's smaller, right? And it's softer. And I'm like, and she was like confirming with me, like not because I was being like a psycho and being like, touch it. But honestly, it's softer, it's smaller. So I'm like, I have evidence that would suggest my scan would be good. But in my head, I'm like, no, it's going to be bad. Oh no, it could be bad. Or you just go through all these things with scans and whatever. But anyways, enough about our stuff, which I'm sure
real
everyone.
life. And that's part of, I think, why we wanted to do intros, because it's like, man, our stories are ongoing. And
Mhm.
as a lot of people listening probably have the same, they can resonate. Theirs are ongoing. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is a roller coaster. Like people say it's a roller coaster. It is an absolute roller coaster. You've got ups, you've got downs, and we're always like, you're rooting for the ups.
Mm-hmm.
We're prepared for the downs, but yeah, right now we're both in like a in between different circumstances, but we'll keep updating everybody as we get updates, and hopefully we have good news to share in the upcoming months. But
Mm-hmm.
today's
What are we talking about
episode,
today?
yeah, today's episode is for those of you who know somebody going through a cancer diagnosis. It's how to support somebody with cancer. And I think obviously there are obvious ways to help people, which we discuss in the podcast or in the episode, but there's also like specific ways to specific people, which I was thinking about, and like how I'm sure there's ways to help your loved one that we may not have mentioned because like their lives are specific to them. But one thing I did want to say is like, you know, I think there's a lot of help right up front. Like when someone's first diagnosed, when they're going through their active treatment plan, but healing has different stages and it looks different for everybody. And I would just say, like, maybe check in with your person that's going through this because they might still need help. Like, you know, I am still going through it. Like it's not over. My journey's not over, even though I look like I'm great and I look healthy and I feel healthy and I feel great, but I'm still actively doing all the cancer
Mm-hmm.
treatments. And, that stuff is expensive. And I would just say, like, ongoing help is always appreciated
Mm-hmm.
for people. I see a lot of our friends in the community, like, having to, push for their GoFundMe's again because like a new tumor popped up or like still trying to figure out a new treatment plan. And so I just wanted to mention that like there's never really an end. I mean, prayers are always going to be welcome and you should always
Mm-hmm.
continue to like pray for the people that are, going through it. But we tried to be thoughtful of it and, discuss the things that we felt were helpful to us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I
Yeah.
hope, yeah.
I would say, yeah, I think it's kind of weird because as the patient, you so badly want to move into a state or like a stage where you're not the center of attention, you're not the middle of conversation. And then, like, when cancer continues and you're still getting treatment and also trying to move on with your life and like not have it be the thing that everyone is, talking about and revolving everyone's lives around, like it's a really hard stretch in between where you're like, whoa, I'm trying to function as a normal human and do all these things. And so yeah, I think it'd be really interesting if you have cancer or you're supporting someone with cancer, DM us if you have other ways that have been really helpful that people have like supported you. And we could always, share those out in another episode someday. But tried to give some really tangible, maybe a few creative ways that you can help people. Some very free. Prayer is obviously free. Words of affirmation are free. And there's a few others in there. So
Yeah.
hopefully it'll be a good episode for you, whether you're going through it or supporting someone.
Yeah, I like that idea of sending us ideas because maybe we can compile a list and put it
Mm-hmm.
in we hope to have an email list. What's it called? What's it called
Well,
when email
email
people?
blast, MailChimp,
Mail. Is it something like that where you could get emails from us? Just obviously we won't spam you. I'm
newsletter.
like a real hater of like overly messaging people. So I won't do that to you. But a
Mm-mm.
newsletter with these practical, helpful tips for people because I think anybody navigating this, whether you're the patient or the loved one, there is no roadmap and it can be really scary and, hard sometimes. So we're here to try to help you
Mm-hmm.
support the ones you love. And we love you too.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, without further ado, we'll just let you listen to the episode. It's a short one. So
It
You
is.
should be able to listen
Okay.
to it and get to work if you're in Southern California. If you live anywhere else, you probably will get to work, listen to half of it, then go home and listen to the rest of it. We have a lot of traffic here.
Yeah, it's about 3 commutes in Nebraska.
It is one commute here if you're lucky. So,
Without further ado.
all right. Well, love seeing you.
You too.
And I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Hi, welcome back to This Wasn't the Plan podcast. I'm Callie.
And I'm Brittany.
Today we're going to talk about how to support someone with cancer, what helps, what hurts, and how to truly be there when things get hard.
We know some of you have loved ones who've been diagnosed, or you're supporting somebody through a really hard season, maybe not even a cancer diagnosis, and you just want to know, like, what are some things from a person who's gone through its perspective. So first, let's talk about some examples of things in our life that were helpful, and we'll get to harmful as well.
Yeah. So just like broad overview, like how did people show up for you in the beginning? Like just right in the beginning when initial diagnosis, you didn't even know what you were going to do yet, but like you knew you were going to need help, but you didn't know exactly what kind of help you needed.
I think number one, if you're really close with somebody, like I think if it's someone who you is like close family or close friend, just like know that you showing up in some way is probably really helpful, whether they say it is or not. Like whether it's being like, hey, I'm going to the grocery store, what can I pick up for you? Or I'm bringing a dinner over, what would it be? Or maybe like, did people offer to help with your kid?
Yeah, I think I would categorize that as a direct offer, which I think is really important because in the beginning when you like just the initial diagnosis, let's just say like your first week of just the shock, I feel like, you know, a lot of people were just saying like, I'm here, like, you know, I heard like, I'm here for you, and just like, it wasn't a direct offer, but it was just like, wow, I have a lot of people that care about me. I don't know what I need right now. Like, I didn't say that, but I was thinking, I don't know what I need, you know, but I knew that I had a support team, and that feels good to know that you just like have people. And I think sometimes, you know, when someone's going through a hard time, you're like, I don't know, do I message them? Like, I don't know if I'm going to bother them. And I think the answer is always message them because at the end of the day, they don't have to respond, you know, but just show your support. So I guess like we should move into maybe like specific helpful things to do during the initial diagnosis. And one of them, we were just saying, is direct offers. And I would say that the difference is, okay, that means I'm going to come over on Tuesday and bring you dinner, like you just said, as opposed to, what, can I bring you dinner?
Or tell me, like, I'm here if you need something. And, you know, I think, like, the interesting thing is, as a person who's gone through it, like, there were a lot of people who reached out. And some of those people, like, I don't want to say periphery, but they were, like, they weren't my, like, super close friends and family. And just a reach out and an encouraging message was super nice. Like, you don't always have, but if you are the person who is really close, know that direct offer versus I'm here if you need anything is helpful.
Yeah, true. For me, I like felt bad when people I always just as a personality trait feel bad when people do things for me. So like, you know,
breast cancer personality.
Yeah, exactly. So if they said like, can I do anything for you? And I'd be thinking, there's a lot of things you could do for me, but I'm not going to say them. So, you know, for them to say, let us set up a meal train. I'm going to set up a meal train, or I'm going to come over and, you know, watch your baby so you can take a nap. You know, just stuff like that they're small, but they're huge too, you know?
And interestingly for you, it's like they were supporting you through postpartum and a cancer diagnosis.
Yes.
So like these are things that apply to both.
Yeah, exactly.
In different ways.
Another thing is sending, like you just said, like offering messages of support through text messaging or whatever form and not expecting a reply. Because, you know, I had a hard time using my phone and just looking at it. There's just too much coming in at me with like doctor calls, and like I couldn't. And I hate not replying to people. Like that's very stressful to me. Then I got breast cancer diagnosis, and then I was like, okay, I can't reply to all these people. I can't even tell these people. I can't even say it out loud that I have cancer. And so just like when they would say whatever they were saying, their message of support, and then they would say at the end, you don't need to no need to reply. Just know that I'm thinking of you. I'm like,
Wow.
that felt
Take
great.
the pressure off. Yes.
Yeah, that just felt great. Because even though, yeah, you don't have to reply to anybody, but the breast cancer personality says you do because you owe them that, and that is your job.
Pause. What is the breast cancer personality? 'Cause, like, that's something people are probably like, what?
Okay, I feel like we could talk about that more in detail, but just I read that it's, you are a people pleaser. You're always worried about other people, doing for others. You don't always, you don't think about your needs. You put your needs last. I always feel like I'm bothering people or burdening people, and like I just have to be self-sufficient. I have to just not rely on anybody.
Yeah.
But I want everyone else to rely on me, and that's okay. So that's kind of that's what I would describe it as.
I think, and that's, so, I mean, because we'll probably say it sometimes, and so, I think I agree. Like, I was worried about, like, when I got diagnosed, I was worried about other people in a weird way, and I was like, oh, this is such hard news for them.
Yeah, no.
And, like, I had an aunt who would, she'd always end with, no need to reply, just wanted you to know I'm thinking of you, or I'm praying for you, or whatever it was. And that took all the pressure off. And usually I'd just reply with a heart, or just, something like that, like, wow, thank you. And I think just that's one way to make it about the person and not about, and some people really need permission for that. And then, I think any kind of showing up with support, like you said, whether it's to help with kids or if they have older kids, taking them on a play date, because everybody's, if they're a young person or have a young family, like, everybody's gonna handle telling their children differently, and they might see mom crying a lot, or they might see, whatever it is, and so just getting support that way, I think, would be really helpful.
So to turn it on the other side, let's talk about some harmful things. There's just some things that seem obvious but happen all the time when you're diagnosed, especially with people that really don't know what to say, and you tell them you have breast cancer. The one thing that's very harmful that has happened to me multiple times is somebody trying to relate by telling me a story of someone they knew that had breast cancer and died. Like, that
is helpful. Just an automatic,
just red flag. Don't do it.
Don't do that. I think people get really nervous and panicky, and it just comes out, and I imagine they're like, stop saying this to themselves.
I don't even know. And then they go, well, that won't be you. It's like, well, just don't even put that in my brain. Just don't say that. That just seems obvious. And we should preface that, you mentioned, not wanting to, there's so many, don't say this, and then people get too afraid to do anything. Yeah. And we're not that. We're just saying there's just a couple things that seem obvious that for whatever reason do happen quite a bit, and that's one of them.
Yeah, I think it is important to say, when you go through these, this isn't helpful things, it is to empower people and not to make them feel bad. I probably have done one of these on our list in the past, and it's more just hey, these are some things that don't land well, and hopefully they can help propel you to do things with confidence.
Also, one thing that I just don't think is helpful is when they ask what stage you're at.
Oh, yeah.
Because inevitably, if you're stage 1 or 2, they'll give you a but and then if you're stage 3, stage 4, they look at you with just pity. It's just not helpful, having to ask that, because that, I don't know, I don't really like the stages. I don't like to subscribe to them. I don't care for them. So just don't ask that, because I've had that.
Yeah, I think that implies, and one other that's very similar, and this is one that I think you might, you might not think about when you ask, but how it lands is oh, but you cut it early, right? They're trying to be encouraging. Yeah. But then I had to be well, no, not really.
Cancer's an 8 to 10 year disease. Catching it early is blood work in year 2, showing, high homocysteine levels. You know what I mean? So I don't even really like that. Cancer's cancer. And, whatever. I just think that that's unhelpful. And then also, kind of along the lines, is prognosis statistics.
Do people actually ask that to you?
No, it's not asking. It's more of well, I was reading, this is like maybe they already know, they do their at-home research, and they say, okay, well, I was reading that, like, if you catch it at this stage and you have this type of cancer, you have a 60% chance of living. It's like, that's not helpful. I don't like prognosis statistics. My motto is accept the diagnosis, deny the prognosis. So why would I even want to read what you found? Like, don't tell me that. That's not helpful to me. Because then, when you get diagnosed, like, you're scared and you actually kind of, sometimes you do look death in the eye, And so you're hearing, 60% chance of living, or they're saying that, but you're hearing, that means I have a 40% chance of dying. And that's what you focus on, And so it's just like not helpful. And
I think like the interesting thing is like different person, like someone who I'm close with who is just diagnosed has a very analytical personality and kind of like maybe wants to do things different. And you just let them lead. Like if they want that information, they will seek it out and everyone will do different things. But I think like asking about stage or talking about statistics or even like another one is weighing in on treatment decisions or being like, so you're doing chemo, right? Or that kind of questioning, it makes people not trust themselves. And I think encouraging someone to really trust themselves is an important part of the journey.
Yeah. And also, you don't know what you would do until you're in this situation. And we'll talk about that when we discuss like treatment options, but just don't assume you know what's best for somebody when you haven't even walked in these shoes, because you don't know. I have completely shifted like everything I ever thought I would do or wouldn't do because of my situation. And you just don't know. So until you walked a mile in their shoes, don't even offer suggestions.
Early on, I had somebody who was a breast cancer survivor who, like, I talked with, and I really quickly learned, like, if people have done things really different, and just, like, fully trust their doctor and don't question their doctor, like, they might stress me out if we go in-depth conversation more than help. And I talked with this person, and then later they messaged me and they were like, I know you're scared to lose your hair, but honey, it's just hair. Like, just do it. Do chemo. It's a season. And I was like, it has nothing to do with that. You got cancer when you were 60 years old. I am 30. I have not had children. And this affects so much more than you would ever have imagined. Yeah. And it was just like, don't assume that I'm doing this for vanity.
Yeah, that's not fair. So keep those comments to yourself. Okay, I wanted to switch over to our top three ways of being supportive.
So I think, like, kind of looking back on all of that, there's really 3 ways to be of service that you could break it down or really simplify it to, and that's like offering your time, financial support, and emotional support. What are some examples of ways that people offered time for you?
Time for me was, in the beginning, I had a newborn and I just needed help. So I had family stay with me. They were really, my husband had to go back to work. I needed help with the baby. So I had my parents come, I had my aunt and uncle come, my aunt, my sister, friends, and they came and they stayed with me and they, offered to help with my son and, cook me meals. And I really needed a lot of help at that time. And then I started to feel, after I had my lumpectomy and I thought I was cancer free and I was like doing it on my own, that was good. And then, when you go through low dose chemo or chemo, whatever you do, any kind of treatment, having someone be there with you is offering their time, but also their emotional support, because, you having someone just like hold your hand, I don't know, it's truly so helpful and driving you there, which I guess is more like acts of service, which is like time. Yeah.
I think, like, honestly, I don't know, it's hard because I think there were times I thought I wanted to just like be alone, but having someone just show up, bring a meal or whatever is how, like, that person says, like, and then sitting there and just like a little presence. Because when I was alone at the beginning, I would just kind of spiral. And so having, whether it's like, hey, you want to go on a walk, or I'm going to go grocery shopping for you. I'm going to take your dog for a walk while you go on to an appointment. Those are all, like, I traveled to California for my treatment every week. And I did that, like, my husband did not travel with me because, I mean, for the most part, because it was buying 2 plane tickets, and why would we do that? And so the times that he did go, people were going to my house and, like, taking care of our cats was really, really helpful. And, like, just people kind of came out of the woodwork. My cats were so confused because I have, like, 3 people who usually watch them or come feed them or whatever. And there was just, like, random people popping by all the time. So that was really helpful. And then the friends and family who offered to come to California with me for treatment, that was some of the most special time I've ever had with any of them. You know, it was just, like, really, really, like, it's a raw time, but, like, it's also quality time, and it makes it not fun, but, like, special, rather than just like, oh, I'm gonna go to chemo, you know?
Looking back on it, I'm just thinking, like, you know, at the time I didn't think about their perspective. I was just thinking about myself. But now I look back and, like, I think about the people that accompanied me to all my treatments, to chemo treatments. And I'm thinking, like, I wonder what they were thinking. You know, like, was it, because they weren't showing, but was it hard for them? Because I think about myself, if the situation was reversed and I was taking my sister-in-law or, you know, mother-in-law or whatever to chemo, like, I'd be really scared for them, and I'd be emotional, but I wouldn't show it. And I'd be like, you know, it's truly bonding. Like, you know, there's just a unspoken thing, like kindness for someone to go with you, because it's not like it's easy, it's not fun. You know, it's long days, you're watching someone you love
Get poked a lot.
and not feel good, and you know, I just, like, I'm so grateful for them, the people that offered to come, because it's not a way I want to spend my day, you know?
And I think, like, by that point, for me, and I mean, it wasn't like it happened right away when either of us was diagnosed. People had their head on straight a little bit and really brought a spirit of, like cheering me up. Like, they weren't looking at me sad and scared, and, like, they were just like, you're so strong, and, like, we're gonna do this. And I don't know, it was really empowering.
Yeah, it was really helpful. And then, you know, even if you don't know anything about low-dose chemo, your blood sugar, they lower your blood sugar, and you have to, like, you know, eat fruit and to raise it back up. But there's a lot of, like, little things during treatment that were very helpful to have someone with you, whether it's like they're going to get your fruit, they're going to feed you. I mean, my aunt fed me my first treatment because I was so weak, you know, and I was like a little baby that needed help. I was like a little baby bird. I was like, you need to feed me, you know, because I was just so weak and scared. Like, I was truly just really scared. And she was feeding me my grapes, and you know, I was like, I mean, you don't want to lose that independence, but it was just, like, so sweet that, you know, they were there for you.
I know. My parents did the same, because I was trying to feed myself, and I had my big, like, headphones around my, and I was so, I might tell that my blood sugar was low enough, is like, I get shaky. Like, some people get, like, weird eyes or tired. I just get super shaky, and I was trying to eat, and I, like, flopped it, like, acai bowl into my headphones. My mom's like, I just felt like such a child again, but that was a sweet one.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I also want to give an example of, like, financial support and talk a lot about that, because and I'm sure you felt this way too, I had no idea the astronomical cost of cancer, especially going integrative, and insurance covers, you have to pay out of pocket, and we're still trying to get money back from insurance, but not nearly enough. And we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, it's not just, like, it just was so much. And I was like, I just, like, I don't know, I didn't want to ask for help. Like, you feel kind of like such a charity case. But one day, one of my friends was with me when I was at the center that I was going to for cancer treatments, and she happened to see, like, my bills, and she, like, looked at me and she was like, Callie, this is so expensive. I'm like, yeah. She goes, can I start a GoFundMe for you? And I was like, you know, I didn't really think about that. And I was like, I don't know, like, let me think about it. I hadn't even told anybody I had breast cancer at that point. You know, was like, this will be kind of a shock. Anyways, cut to, she did start a GoFundMe for me, and I was so grateful because I would never start it myself. It was so hard for me to ask for help, let alone financial help. Like, you just feel like you're so like less than, you know? Who has that kind of money when you're like first married, having a baby, and you're ready to, you know, have, what is it, you know, hundreds of $1,000s like right now to spend, and it's like, okay, well, I have to spend that money or I'm gonna feel like you're gonna die, you know?
Yeah.
And I needed to, and so I was so grateful for that financial support. And then sometimes like family would send me checks in the mail or like send me Venmos, and like I didn't know how to say thank you properly, but it's just like they'll never know like what that meant to me, because there were times where we're like, are we gonna have the money for this? Like, you know, am I gonna not be able to do this treatment? And then you know, you just think like, if I don't get this treatment, I could die. I don't know, it's just so awful that
It's
you know,
so heavy.
it's so heavy. And then I was like, anyways, I was just so helpful. I was just so grateful for people that just like offered financial support without asking, you know. And I'll always be grateful to them. And you know, I was trying to send thank you cards to people, but there was so much help that I was like, I don't know how to send out my thank you cards. And then of course the people pleaser in me is like, they're gonna hate me now because I didn't send a thank you. Yeah, I still do.
It's a year and a half later, and I'm like, there are people in my head that, and if you're listening, you gave my GoFundMe, thank you so much.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, that was like, it's such an awful feeling in a good way to be like, holy crap, and I'm making all these like life-changing decisions, and I can't like properly thank everybody, and like I feel like I don't know, it was a lot, but it was so, I mean, it allowed at one point in each of our journeys allowed us to continue or start like a treatment that was really needed. And so
also, sorry not to interrupt, I would say when I was like questioning if I wanted to do a GoFundMe, I had a friend tell me like, you know, I really want to support. I was telling her that another friend wanted to start the GoFundMe, and I said I was like nervous about it. And she said, you know, I really want to be there for you. I don't have time to be there for you because I have kids, but I would love to donate to something and like offer financial support. And that like kind of put it in perspective for me that there are people that wanted to help, but they just like didn't know how. And like starting the GoFundMe gave them a way to help, and you know, that made a difference for me. And also someone said to me, I think it was like my priest maybe, you know, when I was saying like I felt bad, all these people helping me and giving me their time and stepping away from their kids to come to me to help with my kids, and it was just, I felt a lot of guilt. And he said, you know, when somebody offers to help you and you deny their help, you're denying their like, I don't know what the term is, but it's like spiritual reward or something like that. Like you're taking away their ability. There's something that they wanted to do for you,
and they felt like called to do.
Yeah. And
like I've felt. I mean, I work at a nonprofit. Like if somebody, like if I feel called to like serve someone in a certain way, and they're like, no, like
yeah, and that changed my perspective on it too, and you know, trying to not feel guilt, but just feel grateful. I always felt grateful, but I still had like a lot of guilt. Now I just try not to feel the guilt and only feel grateful. And, you know, that was really helpful. Now I would say like, if you don't have, you know, some people can't afford to like give you financial support. I remember somebody offered a cleaning service. Like, can I send a cleaning service to your house? And I like didn't say yes because I felt bad, but then I like thought about it, and I'm such a neat, tidy person, but you know, I felt like my world was falling apart. But you know, the world, your life keeps moving even though you have a cancer diagnosis, and that was like hard for me to understand, because like my house was such a mess. Like I had baby clothes. I was just like, I couldn't keep up with just normal household like tasks, and I couldn't clean the house. Like that was just not even an option. And I had people coming in, and so like somebody offering to hire a cleaning service is like amazing. Like you know, if your world's falling apart, the world around you shouldn't fall apart too, you know, even if you feel that way.
I was worried about if I could buy the supplements I needed or the groceries I needed. You know, like that was a weird feeling to be like that financially dire, like that it just and I don't know, it just kind of feels like the world's crumbling around you, even if you have, like, I was like, I have all these resources, but it feels like I don't. Yeah. And so I think just sending sending, like, whether it's a, if financial support is what you want to do, just kind of like unrestrained, like use it how you need, or if that's, a massage or groceries, whatever. And then, yeah, so I had somebody offer to get me a membership at a hyperbaric oxygen chamber gym, and that like has helped so much and been such a blessing, because it is one of those things, like integrative treatments are expensive, and doing all the vitamin C infusions and all of the things that just continue even as you work out of the like active treatment phase. I should be doing some form of like oxygen therapy, but it's expensive, and like I just wouldn't have paid for it at this point. So it's really freed me up to continue. So I think, financial is one way to support. Not everyone is in a season where they can, but if you are, and like maybe like you're a friend who can't give of time or be there and sit with you and be emotional support, it is a really awesome, there are some great ways that you can help and be creative that way. But you want to talk about emotional support, how people will help you there?
Yeah. Emotional support was huge. I had some people in my life they would just send me like a scripture every day. And I was like I was really questioning God a lot, but I would read it and it would just hit me where I needed it to. Like it meant a lot to me. And I was like, oh wow, this person's thinking about me. Or they'd send like thinking about you. Just thinking about you. And because you do feel like you're alone and the world's moving on and everyone is forgetting about you, and everyone gets to live their life and you're at home like dealing with chemotherapy and trying to save your life. And I don't know, it's just those sweet messages. And then I remember people in my life knew I was doing chemo, and they knew the days I would get chemo, and they would send me a message before chemo saying like just huge messages of support. Like my husband would send me like just like the sweetest message saying he was like proud of me, and like I'm gonna cry, but it just like meant so much to me, and it gave me that like strength I needed, because there was a lot of days when you just didn't have it in you, and messages meant a lot to me. And the fact that they were like, wow, it also feels like, okay, these people are actually on this journey with me, and they know what I'm doing, and they know I'm doing chemo this day, so they're going to send me a message, or they know I'm getting a scan, and they're going to offer prayers and messages of support in the morning. And also, like, as I started to share my story on social media, I would get messages from people that I hadn't talked to in years, like truly 20 years, and they would say, I've been following your story and it's really inspiring, and because you posted about this, I changed my deodorant or something like that. And that feels good too, because you're like, okay, I'm not just talking to avoid, and this isn't all for nothing. I'm reaching people, sharing my story is helping other people, and that like also means a lot to me,
Yeah, for sure. I think another way to like support people emotionally is like playlists in general are really big for me. So my husband actually, at the beginning, when like I couldn't look at the internet, or I couldn't like look for things myself, because if it was like a bad story or a story that stressed me out, like that would not be good. So he made a playlist on Spotify of podcast episodes that would be really helpful, knowing what I needed to hear. And that was such a fun, tangible way that he could, like, he wanted to go into research mode, and so he did that. And like I made myself like worship playlist, and you could make that for someone as well. Like think about songs that talk about how God can like heal, or how he comes through, how he provides, because a lot of my year was wrestling with provision, again, because of the financial resources. I was just like trusting. And so making a playlist for somebody, I think, is another free, easy way to, like, if you live far away from a friend or family member, offer them support.
I was raised Greek Orthodox. We did not have worship music. That just like wasn't a thing. I can't even tell you that I knew that it existed. And I remember in the beginning, I don't know, someone must have sent me, I think it was my aunt, she sent me like a song, and it was called like Counting My Blessings. It was the first time I ever heard it was the first time I ever heard like Christian music. I know that's so crazy for you
it
to
is
be
so
like, how do
crazy.
you not know about Christian music? Well, Britney Spears wasn't singing about Christianity, so you know I didn't hear it. But no, but so I remember listening to that song over and over and over again, and it was just like, you know, count your blessings. And I remember it like helped me think like, okay, this sucks, everything about this sucks, but I do have blessings that I'm forgetting to look at. And like a song did that for me, and then it got me into like Christian music, and it really did. It was really powerful for my healing throughout my journey and helping me get through. And people I met along the way would like, you would share songs with me, and then I got really into it, and like, who knew that like sharing a song could be so, it was like it really shifted my mindset.
Music
at one point.
is so powerful. And it like helps people connect, and it connects people to God. I mean, also like healing, like I don't need to belabor the point, but like there's healing frequencies on Spotify, and you could like, even like I sent those to a person I was really close with because they were really, really stressed and like having trouble sleeping. And I was like, just like play these. It's literally like a balm to your soul to just hear like 528 hertz and just like rest. And so I think those are just little ways that you can maybe offer someone a reprieve from like the stress that's in their mind.
So in conclusion, time, money, and emotional support.
Yeah.
Top 3 ways to offer assistance, and hopefully people can learn something
So
from that.
we talked a little bit about this already, but I think along all of these lines, both of us really struggled with feeling like we didn't know how to ask for help, we didn't want to ask for help, or we denied help. What are some of the reasons that you think that people might do that so that people can like work around that and maybe even say, hey, I know this feels like this to you, but I want to do this for you?
One of the things is not feeling worthy and not feeling good enough, which seems crazy that someone could think that, but you know, there's a lot more to that with the breast cancer personality, like, you know, not feeling like you're worthy of healing, and not worthy of feeling like you deserve all this help and money and love and time, and people have their own lives to live, you know. I don't deserve this, you know. And that's like something that the patient has to work through, but just being like, you are worthy. I want to give you this, you know. And that could, you know, help like make them want to receive it. I would say maybe part of that is like, or another part of that is ego.
Yeah, I think there's like, for everyone it's different. Like self-worth is one. I think pride for sure. Like I don't want to feel like a charity case. I can provide for myself, especially like, you know, we're not like kids. Like, you know, like it feels weird to go from self-sufficient to needing support in different ways.
Maybe like embarrassed kind of, you know, like I have friends going on these like fancy vacations or buying these beautiful homes, and I'm like, I need money for all my supplements.
Totally.
And
I had someone go on like a trip to Mexico for $6,000, and it was like all inclusive, and I'm like, well, that's 2 chemos for me. Not even. You know?
Not
like,
even 2 chemos.
Dang, I wish I could go to Mexico.
And it's like, you know, you want to feel like you're, you know, we're in our 30s, like we should be financially stable. And it's like, had we not had cancer, we would be, you know, but we're not. And, you know, you just get kind of embarrassed to be like, I need all this money. I would say another thing is guilt, feeling guilty. The breast cancer personality. Yeah, you just feel like, well, you don't have that much money. Why are you giving me this money?
Oh,
you know?
all the time I felt so guilty.
Like people who weren't like super well off offering financial support, and I just always felt bad about it, you know, and I, you know, but like I said, if that's what they want to do, they feel called to do it. Like, you know, you should accept it, and it makes them feel good too.
My therapist and I talked about this, and she helped me a lot with this because she said, Brittany, if someone you were close to was going through something like this, would you bankrupt yourself to help them? No, you would not. Yeah. You would help them to the amount that you can. Sometimes it's sacrificial, but like that is something that you would feel called to do. Yeah. But you're not going to like not get yourself food to help this other person.
Right.
So I had to remind myself of that.
Yeah. Like our parents helped us a lot. And I remember someone put in perspective, like if something happened to your son, would you not help them as much as you could. I'm like, oh, I would give everything I have to help save my son's life, you know? But I still do feel bad. Like, I don't know. You do. And I wish I just like won the lotto and I could help myself pay people back and start a charity helping other people.
Yeah.
Because it's just,
we talk about that a lot.
I know. It's just, it's an expensive disease.
I think that kind of covers the topic of supporting someone with cancer. We talked about kind of like what was helpful and harmful, ways that you can be of service or help somebody, and maybe like a little insight into what they might be feeling with that. Anything else that you want to talk about with the idea of supporting somebody?
I just want to emphasize like how grateful I am for the support I got. I think, you know, I don't think there's no way to tell people how much it meant to me. And, you know, will be forever grateful for the help that I received. Time, money, and emotional support. And, you know, those are just the top 3 things that you can do to help someone with cancer. And it's truly immeasurable, you know? And
I think, like, if you feel called to do something specific, even if it's someone you're not close with, it might feel weird, but, like, do it because it might mean the world to them. I have friends today that I didn't know. They literally reached out over Instagram and were like, hey, this is kind of weird. I'm following you because of such and such. I want to offer this thing to you. And then we ended up chatting, and, like, I really I never felt like that's a weird thing that they'd offer, even though, you know, it was always so, like, wow, that is so kind. Like, I agree. Like,
always
feeling so grateful for everyone who's done anything. And it really motivates me to be that person for other people when that season comes. So.
All right. Well, I think that's it.
Yep.
So we say goodbye.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for listening. Bye. Thanks for listening to our podcast. We have a big favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and leave a review. It really helps people find us.
Thank you so much, and see you next time.
Bye.